All right, we're live, y'all. So, welcome back to another episode of Women Crush Wednesday. Today is episode 4, and we're going to be talking about being married in your 20s, ministry, and business. And today we have Jordynn and Rhema. So, Jordynn, you guys, if you watched the C Word, she was Indigo, so you probably recognize her from the C Word. And Rhema is my friend from church. We started a small group together, so I thought these ladies would be the perfect guest for this episode. So we're going to start with a little bit of an icebreaker. So this is kind of like a random question, like would you rather? Mm-hmm. But would you rather not be able to see or not be able to hear, and why?
I would say hear, even though that'd be really scary.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But I mean, God forbid. There's a show called In the Dark, and on Netflix. It's really good. Mm-hmm. And she's blind.
Oh wow!
Like, I mean, she has to use other senses, but like, I mean, I cannot imagine she gets around. She really gets around in the show, but she moves around. She sleeps around. She goes to the bar. She drinks a lot. And she's like she has this whole life, but like, I mean. Yeah, it's interesting. You'll have to check out the show. It's really interesting.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. How about you, Rhema?
I mean, maybe I'll go with no sight because, and maybe I'd rather just hear because, I don't know. I just feel like seeing in me, sometimes I get the anticipation. If I see something, I want it to be like now, and sometimes what you see isn't always now. That's kind of spiritually thinking, but literally thinking too, like sometimes it's like I just don't want to see right now, but I am appreciative of and grateful for my eyes, and I love my eyes, but like speaking like how sometimes you may get visions or things that you want to see now, and sometimes it affects me in different aspects. Sometimes I'm just like, but honestly, Stevie Wonder, he's doing quite well with no eyesight.
Right.
I would say I would go without hearing because I feel like I have to see what's going on. Like that, like you said, that would be scary, like not knowing like
somebody sneak up on you.
Like you don't know what anything looks like. You don't know what's going on. You have to rely on like just what you're hearing. So I mean, I would miss like music and stuff like that, but
you can still feel the beat.
Right. And like I feel like there's more, I guess, technology for hearing. Like you could get hearing aids and things like that. For not being able to see, it's not really much you can do. Like if your vision is just totally gone, like there's really not much that's gonna fix that. So that was a random icebreaker. So now I'm gonna introduce you guys. So Rhema is 29 and she has a heart to serve, love, and lead people to God, no matter where they are in life. Also, she is a wife, sister, minister, and working in higher education. And she's working on branding herself. Her favorite verse is Nehemiah 8:10. Do not grieve, for the joy of the Lord is your strength. So, hey, Rhema, welcome to the show.
Hey.
And next we have, can y'all see me? Because I'm like on my computer. I'm about to click out. Okay, you can still see me?
Yeah.
All right. And next we have Jordynn. Jordynn has been married to Will, her college sweetheart, for almost 3 years now. They have a daughter named Charlie, who's 1 year old, and Jordynn has built an online platform where she is transparent about marriage, life struggles, and her faith. After getting laid off back-to-back from two creative but very corporate jobs, she felt that it was a sign for her to go ahead and make what was once her side hustle her main hustle. Yes, sis. She now works as a social media and brand coach, helping businesses and individuals build brands and generate income online while leveraging the power of Instagram. So we have two powerhouses on the show today. So I just want to thank you ladies for being on the show today. And so we're going to get into the interview. So
Thanks for having us.
Yes, you're welcome. So the first question is for Jordynn. So what advice would you give to newlyweds? I guess you can, well, no, I just said how long you were married. So what advice would you give to newlyweds?
So can I give, I have two pieces to this. I have advice for like the people in the whole stage of getting married. I would say don't focus so much on like the aesthetics of the wedding. Focus more on each other. Like we are still paying off our wedding. It was almost 3 years ago. And September 3rd will be 3 years and we're still paying. We took out a loan for it. And like every time we pay for it, we're like, why do we do this? Like we could be using this for our therapy sessions, like because we go to marriage counseling. We could be using it for that. Why do we spend money on $40 for a person for everybody's plate, and then you got chairs and the plates and the dishes and the music and the food and all this stuff when it could have been so much smaller and more intimate. Like Will's groomsmen, he doesn't even talk to them anymore. Like nothing happened. They
just fade away sometimes.
Right. And it's just like, yeah. So my advice is to focus on each other. Don't be so caught up in what the world says your wedding is supposed to be. And this is like the perfect time to really tap into that.
Exactly.
You could do a backyard wedding. You could do something just very quaint and small. Just make it about each other. Make it about God. And then the thing about the, I guess, advice for newlyweds is go ahead and get someone to help walk you through any issues. So get a therapist, get a counselor, find somebody in your insurance, within your insurance, and just go. I mean, ours is $25 a session, which is like really good. You know what I mean? And we go once a week and we just kind of pour out, and it has helped our marriage so much. It's so much healthier. Like there's no walking on eggshells. There's no like, I don't know what he's thinking, because we've already talked about it. We've already we knock those conversations out the moment we might feel something like, hey, I'm feeling a little uneasy. I'm feeling a little confused about X, Y, and Z, or I'm feeling hurt that you did this, or whatever the case is. So, and also learning language around confrontation, and just like giving your partner grace and talking through conflict. So I would definitely recommend getting a counselor.
That's good advice. I would definitely agree with you on the wedding thing. Because honestly, like, you know, yes, it's for you. Like, I feel like a lot of girls grow up dreaming of having a wedding, but you're honestly paying for other people to have a good time. Because you might be stressed out that day if something went wrong. Right. Like you said, thinking about all the money that you spent, and all these other people, their bellies are full. And like you said, you might not even talk to them 2 years after the wedding.
Right. So they're going right home without footing the bill, like, you know, debt free.
So it's just, I guess, trying to find a balance, because I think it is important to celebrate, you know, your day, but I guess in a way that you can afford, or that isn't, you know, too much, because at the end of the day, it's like kind of making other people's day. So
yeah,
I definitely think that's too. So what would you say about that, Rhema? About like spending money on
weddings are for the birds, but I say we just got married on December 7th, so we were planning to have a wedding, and we ended up just having a ceremony with me, Derek, our parents, and we had a photographer, and we had someone, because we got married in Oklahoma, we had someone at our wedding, and then we just had some like receptions where everybody could hang out and celebrate and do that. And we had it in all the states, because Derek and I don't live in the same place, but it was so stressful. It was like, it was stressful for no purpose. And I was really trying to, like, I just saw people have big weddings, and it was like a lot for no purpose. And there was a purpose, like you really wanted to make it happen. And I think sometimes weddings are based off of the person, and sometimes it can get misconstrued by everybody else's opinions, because depending on your family size, my family's quite big, so it could be bigger without even knowing that it's going to get bigger. So, and then you want to include everybody. And so anyways, it was stressful, but Derek and I made a decision ourselves. And we had my fiance or my husband had a lot of opinions, and we both had a lot of opinions.
That's good. Mine didn't.
We had to work through all those things, and there were some things that he wanted, there were some things that I wanted, and so we were able to talk about those things. So we came more at a united front vibe, but we also got married like really fast. But it was still like intentional and exciting. But we still want to do like a vow. Because we did it so small for the actual ceremony, we will probably do a vow renewal in like 5 to 10 years. But yeah, weddings are stressful and they're a lot. And it's fun to celebrate with your friends, but everybody else can be everybody else can have so much opinions about what they think it should be, and like it loses its meaning really fast. And it's like, how do we get here? Like, how do we get to this point? And then and then people's opinions can override what you want. And then it's like, wait, who's paying for this? And then it's like, because somebody else is paying for it or your family, they choose to do whatever they want. And it's like, this is way too much.
No,
like,
we
some
did.
battles are not worth fighting. It's like not it.
Yeah, that's man.
Yeah,
but it's so fun though. It brings back fun memories, you know, like the dances and like it is fun. But like looking back, I'm like, did I really need the most expensive like table settings? You know, like we got a lot of stuff from Dollar Tree. We ordered in bulk, but it's just like, you know, what is it really about? What is marriage truly about? What's the essence of marriage? And I feel like nobody's really, unless you do premarital counseling, nobody's there to coach you along through that. You know, there should be like a prerequisite for like your wedding day.
In premarital counseling, they don't even talk about the wedding stuff. Like, and I feel like most people, when I went into, we were in one session at my dad's class, and somebody was talking about how they were like, they had this like really big moment where they were almost had an argument about like a family member who wasn't or was invited, and people got their feelings hurt. But like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, everybody else has all these opinions, but like, you guys, we as couples have to go back home and like have a fight or deal with what everybody else is talking about. And it's like, wait, like, so where's the counseling on how to get through this part? Because this is the beginning. Like,
we're
not even married yet, and we're arguing about stuff. And then it's like, wait, what's the point of this? This person that we may or may not even give a gift.
Right.
Or
eat and dip. Okay, so the second question is for Rhema. What has marriage taught you about yourself?
So marriage has taught me a lot. But what it's taught me a lot about is that God really definitely has been challenging me, but he also has been like helping me understand the timing of when I got married and why. So like the timing, I never really had an idea of when I wanted to get married, but I know why I got married when I got married because of all my experiences up until now. And it's helped me because I have a say and I have a voice in my marriage, and I'm not dictated by what somebody else thinks. And like, we can navigate through conversations. And I feel like sometimes it's easy to just listen to what somebody else says in a marriage because it's just the man's opinion. Sometimes
no conflict,
right?
Yeah, no conflict. You don't have to deal. And so because I got married when I did, it's allowed me to understand who I am. And I think that it was important for me to understand like who Rhema is even in God's eyes before I got married to somebody else. And so he can see me for me and he see me in God's eyes as well. But it's important for me to not lose that side of who I am And I think that's what it's mainly taught me. And then in my moments where I'm just like, this is just a lot. Like, this is just a lot.
Yeah.
Like, this is just too much right now. Or like in my moments where I'm just like, he doesn't understand what I just said and how I have to articulate better or explain myself more. It's like, okay, I understand, but it's like sometimes it's hard. Most of the time it's hard because you have like certain things were not hard for me because it was like, okay, I'm used to living with a lot of people. I'm 1 of 7. And so there was always a lot of people in my house. So living with someone isn't a hard thing, but like communicating and not being in a single-minded thing, like you're caring for somebody else. You're loving somebody else. You're building something with somebody else. Like that part you consider. It's like you're considering something else and having somebody else, and it's important. And having that conversation is hard because sometimes you just want to do whatever you want right away. And if they don't even agree, then it's like you have to get them to get on your side sometimes. Now, sometimes it's like simple. Sometimes it's simple, but sometimes it's like, whew, God, did you really just say that I needed to say all that? Like, I don't really know if I really wanted to say all that. But like, you have to like, it's like, so in order to become one, you have to like really connect in the communication and the emotional and the physical. And it's like all those things align together you can't have one without the other. So I've learned that it's like knowing who you are is really important.
That's
and
good.
I didn't realize how much I knew myself, and then learning somebody else too, it was important for me. So
all right, ladies, y'all hear that? Make sure you know yourself before you bring another person on board.
Right.
Okay, so next question is for Jordynn and Rhema, and is what's the biggest misconception about marriage or lesson you have learned so far? So it's kind of similar to what you said, Rhema, but maybe it's something that you thought like marriage would be like, and you're like, oh no, this is totally different, or it's just a huge thing that you learned through being married.
So I walked into marriage thinking that everything was going to be fair. Like everything was going to be equal. I was going to feel like this situation is fair. This argument, we've gotten to the end of it and it's fair, but that's not it. Like marriage is like literally about dying to self constantly. It's about like just being content with it's not fair. And that's so hard. Like ending the conversation and in your mind, it's not fair, but this is marriage. I signed up for this. Like remind yourself. And like, it's just so funny because I have never met anybody that did not have those thoughts. Why did I get married? Like Medea, not Medea, but Tyler Perry. Like you have those moments like, yo, why did I get married? Like, this is not fun. B, I don't feel like cooking for you. I don't feel like being your wife. I don't feel like doing nothing for you. Like, you know what I mean? And so I feel like the biggest misconception was walking into marriage thinking that it was going to be fair. I wrote some notes down because I wanted to make sure I touched on all this stuff. So if you see me looking down, I'm referring to my notes because there's so many things about marriage. I think another misconception is like social media will give it to you one way. And I mean, we all know that, but like, you know, it's just like, even me, like, you know, being a micro influencer and having a business online, people love when I post my marriage and my kid and everything. They love that. And it's kind of like, I'm like, sometimes I hit a crossroads where I'm like, okay, what is too much to share? My husband is pretty much like, I trust you, whatever. Which I love that about him because he knows I'm an oversharer by nature. But it's like, okay, what is the fine line between being fake and oversharing? It's just really hard because I've had conversations with people that are like, I would have never known. And I'm like, really? Because I post crappy stuff about my marriage all the time, how hard it is, how I don't want to do it, but I love my husband and I love my baby. And I always say marriage is so hard. But I guess you just don't know until like you're married yourself. Because if you're not, you have this misconception that it is just so fun. It's so fair. It's just the best thing ever. You get to be with somebody every day and they always got your back. You come home and you got each other. And it's just so nice. You watch movies and Netflix and chill, and like, no, that's not reality. That's like, you know, there's nights I come home or he comes home and I don't want to be around him. And most recently, like I said, like we've been doing counseling and that has helped so much. But like before counseling, I will say, and I'm sure there'll be other times like before, but I don't want to be around them. Like, and we usually take showers together every night. Like that's our thing. We take showers together. We kind of unwind. It's not even anything sexual. We just like, it's our time to just chill and wash each other's backs and just talk. And that's just like our intimate, quiet time together. And there's nights where I'm like, I don't even, you do your thing. Or I'll just be in the shower. I'll do my own thing. And he's like, oh, you shower without me? That's when you know, like something's wrong. Like if we shower without each other, that's a problem. Yeah. So I would say, just to recap that, just the misconceptions of thinking that marriage is going to be fair, and Instagram, like it's not what you see on Instagram.
Those are good.
Yeah, I agree with those.
Oh, are you supposed to go, Rhema? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think another misconception is that who you get your wisdom from, like the people, like your parents or your friends and your family members, and everybody's just thinking that, like, it's not, I don't know how to word the misconception, but I do know that it's a misconception that everybody thinks whenever you get married, like their next thing is like, so when are you having kids? So when you're doing this? So when you're doing that? And it's like everybody's like timeline for you can get so clouded once you start talking about it to your husband, because it's like, wait, we're not even there yet. Like,
right.
We've only been married for some months and everybody's just having their own little vibe.
I know.
And it's like, I can't with people's ideas and opinions. And like, I will literally go really hard, really fast. If you say something, if you say something that I'm just like, wait, so are you me?
Yeah.
Are you us? Are you here? Are you present? Like,
right.
I don't understand how you thought that. And then like people have their own reasons why for you. Like people are like, oh, you got married to do this, this, and that, and it's like, what? Like and then it's like, oh, you got married and you're gonna be just like your mom and dad, or you're gonna be just like your sister and your brother-in-law, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, first of all, that doesn't even add up, like, because that's not gonna keep you married because your parents did it, or because your sister did it, like, or because everybody did it. Like, no, that's not gonna keep you married. What's gonna keep you married is knowing who and the reason why you chose to get married, and understanding that it takes two to get this thing done. Like, one person's opinion is not going to change, like, because it's gonna, like, one day you realize that real fast, because it's like, wait, I'm married, like, I can't just get out, like, and like everybody's just like this whole get out thing, like, I'm just gonna get divorced, or I'm just gonna do this, I'm just gonna do that, and it's like it hits you like a ton of bricks once you get in a fight, because it's like, wait, I'm not leaving, but like I do feel like I want to do something.
Right.
Like,
I just want to like, Google how much is a divorce.
Yeah, like
let me just. Okay, no, let me not.
I do really feel like I can leave off this, but then it's like, you would never think like that before, like ever. Like, I'm staying this the long haul and blah blah. But it takes two people to do anything, and then knowing the other person has their reasons too. Like, there's two reasons why, and understanding that. But yeah, like, people have a lot of things to say. And shut it out. Like, I just feel like, now some people I can respect, but some people that are just saying random stuff, like, even with pregnancies, like, I have friends that are not able or trying or figuring out how to have kids, and people just will say, oh yeah, just keep praying, oh yeah, just keep, and it's just like, what? Like, are you serious? Like, please tell me you've never had like an issue before and you had to work it out. And it's sad, like, when this, like, because literally everybody's like, oh, you're gonna get married and you're gonna have a kid, but like, what
It doesn't
if
always work out that way.
it doesn't always work out that way? And there's a lot of married
Yeah.
people out here that are like really wanting to, and they're watching other people have kids and
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
their dreams. And it's like, it's really hard when you realize, like, oh crap, I may
Yeah.
not, like, the things that I actually had expectations for, it shifts when you get married. Like, oh, it's not just me that has to do this. It takes two people, or in prayer it works, but it's just like the timing of it all and
Yeah.
understanding your bodies. And there's so many things that go into marriage, and everybody's just like, oh, you're just gonna have sex and have a kid. And it's like,
Right.
That's not the
how
only
Right.
reason.
Because I think part of that is because you see so many people just having kids, and like,
Yeah.
so in our minds, I think we're conditioned to think, oh, it's easy, but just make sure, just get married first and then have a kid. But you're totally right. It's not that simple. It's crazy that it's not. Like with Charlie,
so
I got off birth
crazy.
control for just a few days and got pregnant. And I'm just
Wow.
surprised. All I'm gonna say is I'm just really surprised I'm not pregnant right now. Like, it's just weird.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like God's timing is real. Like,
It's so real.
it's God's timing. But I've also had to change my language to be more sensitive to those who might, be trying and haven't been able to yet, or like we have to be more sensitive, and we have to recondition our minds to be sensitive to people, because it's not everybody just gets married and pops out kids. Like, and
not everybody wants to.
Not everybody wants to, and that's okay.
Like,
right.
And that doesn't mean that you can't have sex. Like, you can figure out what to do, or maybe that person, like, and then it's like, if you say something like, "Oh, you're just gonna have a kid now," and it's like, well, what if they can't have kids, and you just open this whole can of worms, and you weren't even sensitive enough to realize what they're going through. And it's like, and then it's not just the woman, and it's not just the man. It's like, it's a marriage. Like, marriage is not about one person. Marriage is about,
and it's not even about
people.
having kids.
It's
like, marriage
not.
is like
who said
like
that
the purpose. Like, the way I look at marriage, which took me a long time, is like, it is a direct representation of like how God wants us to practice our godly relationship. Like, it's practice for our relationship with God. It's practice loving someone else unconditionally, loving them in a healthy, holy way. And that is like the one relationship where you get that into, like, with our husbands, that's as close as we're going to get to a relationship with God. That is like the most intimate relationship that you're going to have here on earth. And having a kid is very different, but like, it's
like an addition to, because like the other thing is, I've run into people saying like, or like before I got married too, they're like, so like, you just want to get married to have kids? And it's like, what? Like, I want to be able to love, like, I don't just want to get married.
I just got married to have sex, which, like, that's a nice perk, but
to do all those things, it's like, because once the kid comes, that's gonna change your marriage. Like, your marriage is not, you're not gonna have all that time to spend with your husband. Like, if everything is going to begin to look different, as when you get married, it looks different. Like, and it's just really sad to me that we're in 2020 and people are still saying insensitive comments. And it's like, we have Facebook, we have social media, we have and then like the other thing is that it's like, to be a woman, you have to be married, or you have to have a kid, or you have to have all these things. And it's like, first of all, I don't know where that says in the Bible to be married. Like, that makes you a woman. And it's like, it doesn't help the single people that are trying to get married. It doesn't help the married people that are trying to stay married. And like, it's just, I don't know. I think that as women, it's just, I feel like you have to do better at teaching and growing up people and kids and people around you, and influencing people around you to just respect where someone is and enjoy the process, because you never know when it's going to happen for you. And you never know what God is going to do for you and when he's going to do it, because then it's like, what's the point of God if you just want to do it when you want it and you just want to get it when you want it? Like, we're not in control. We have no power at that. And I was reading the Bible. about marriages and about people having kids, and it's like so crazy how God, like, when God wants to do it, he will.
Right.
And when God doesn't want to do it, he won't. Like,
Right.
and when
Period.
God is trying to teach you something, he will allow you to go through it. And it's like, we're in 2020 and women are trying to stand up for themselves, and men are supporting their wives, and wives are supporting their husbands. And it's like, marriage is a huge misconception in the world. Like, because it's like you get married to do something else. And it's like, wait, like, that's not even God's intent of marriage. God's intent of marriage is love, and God's intent of marriage is the church, because that's Jesus is married to the church. And so it's like, you're loving people, you're caring for person, and it's like, how do we get here?
Right. I have a misconception for me is kind of piggybacking off of what you said earlier, Rhema, about like having what is it called? Expectations. So I would just say, like, not that you shouldn't have any, but just to be open and trust the process, because I wouldn't say that I had like high expectations, but I didn't think that like life would hit us hard, like right in the first year. Like, we had so many just circumstances happen to us. Like, pretty sure my husband might have had COVID before COVID was out there. Like, he was in the hospital for not a month, a week, and he was like sick for like over a month, couldn't go to work. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. And then COVID came, and we were like,
Wow.
pretty sure he had that, because he couldn't breathe, lungs collapsed, all that.
Wow. So glad he's okay.
Yeah. Definitely like a walking miracle. So we had to deal with that. And then right after that, while he was still healing, one of our groomsmen was murdered. And now he was just at our house 2 weeks before. It was just like back to back stuff. Then my car randomly clunked out. We had to buy another car. So it was just like, in the first year of marriage, it was like everything was tested, like, through health. And then it was just like, we might have been starting to clash a little bit. So it was just a lot. And I would just say, to lower your expectations and to just trust God during your marriage, because it's hard. And sometimes it doesn't hit you hard that first year, but for some people it does. Like, I'm glad I was able to. I'm glad I was talking to you, Jordynn. Like,
I've had conversations with you. I told you, like, our first year.
I was texting Jordynn, like, girl, advice, please. Like, and even talking to you, Rhema, like, you were like, I'm praying for you. Like, you need people in your corner, sisters in your corner that are married, even people that are not married, that are just going to encourage you on your way during this, because this is a journey and it's hard. It's going to be ups and downs. So I would just try not to have too high of expectations, because you don't know what your first year is, and not to compare your marriage to somebody else's first year. Because I know people that, their first year is amazing and they're getting along most of the time and all this stuff. But year 3, they might, go through something crazy. Yeah. So, what I'm saying? Compare, well, dang, our first year is really rough, but theirs is, happy and perfect.
Right. I think it's important.
Different seasons of marriage, and it just depends on what, who you are, what marriage you're in. So I would just say, also don't compare your marriage to anybody else's too.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's why it's important to like build a foundation. And I think that's what the first year is for, because like, regardless of what you go through, because you can't dictate. I mean, I think everybody doesn't go through things the same, but like the first year, if anybody got married in 2020, what hit was COVID. So it's like, you're stuck in the house with somebody, and it's like you're forced to do that all the time. And it's like, what? But I think that
the one thing you wanted so bad.
I want to be forever. I want to be forever. And you got it. And you're like, what? But like in those times, like you have to realize like building a foundation is so important. Like, and I think that's why when you get to year 5 and maybe all hell breaks loose, then it's like, what? But like, where was the foundation? Like, because the first couple of years are foundational years. Like, but I don't think it's always taught like that, or it's always like talked about like that, because I think there's stages, like just like there is to building a church, it's the same to building a relationship. And it's hard, but it's important, because the foundation is going to keep you 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the road. And the other misconception is there's a lot of young couples out here in the world, and we're not linking up very well.
Yeah.
I would also say that being married has also made me more of a, I guess, champion for relationships and marriages, for people to like work it out and to just, you know, try everything possible to try to make it work. Because one, you made a covenant with God, and that's the most important to me. But obviously, you know, divorce is an option if it's not healthy and whatever. You feel like you can't, you know, withstand. But I feel like marriage and going through things have just like made me, you know, try to encourage people. Like, it's going to be hard, but keep going. Because before, I wouldn't say I was like the friend that was like, oh, leave him and stuff like that. But now that I really understand, I'm like, it's hard, and I can't judge anybody's relationship, because one person's, you know, it might be too much for me to deal with, but another person, you know, they're going to work through it. And you can't judge people. It's their marriage, it's their relationship. Just keep praying for them that they'll make it through. I just saw like a meme today, and I started laughing because it was like, I can't judge anybody's relationship because I just packed up all my stuff last night, but now we out at lunch.
Basically, like legit, basically. But I saw this. No, I didn't see a meme. I think it was our therapist, but she said, if you guys both run towards God, you will run back into each other. So it's like if both parties put God first and we are seeking God, you ain't breaking up. You ain't, like, you are in covenant. But it's when one person turns away from God and goes the other way. It's not God's will for us to stand before him and make a vow, and then things get hard and like we just can't handle it anymore, so we walk away. Like, God wants to fix that. I feel like the only stipulations I feel like in the Bible is like if someone steps out and cheats, which is somebody turning away, you know, and if somebody dies, that's it. Like, you know.
And then when Kobe died, it made me think.
Well, no, I'm sorry. I'm not laughing, but I'm just like,
I know.
I was trying to reel it into my marriage. Like, when Kobe died, it hit me
in a whole other way.
It affected my marriage.
It affected my
husband
too.
Was really, my husband was. I thought you meant like when Kobe died, like that warranted you a reason to leave your marriage.
Oh no. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I wasn't laughing at. But yeah, that was tough. So I'm with you on that, Jessica. Like, I am definitely an advocate for like sticking it out, but in the same breath, I'm like, girl, I know it's hard. Like, I know you want to leave. Go take a break. Go, not a break, but like go spend the night at your parents' house tonight. Like, you deserve it. You know, you need this. Just go clear your mind before you do something crazy. So I'm definitely an advocate for working it out, sticking it out.
Right. And I also want to shout out, this is random, shout out Leah's Essence on Instagram. She's like an influencer. And me and her have been like following each other since like 2016, 2017. And I've never met her in person, but she like was giving me marriage advice too. Like, it's just like people, you can meet Instagram friends that are really rooting for you and will really give you advice, because I've only met Jordynn like 3 times, and she was really in my corner, like, look, girl, just giving me the rundown, being so transparent. So I just really appreciate ladies like that to have in my corner.
You need them.
And I know, Jessica, you have passed that along to other people. Like, I already know that's who you are. Like, when you get it, like, you're giving it to everyone else. So, and that's what it's about. It's about whatever wisdom you receive, just passing it along so we can stay strong together.
Definitely. Okay, so the next question is for Rhema, and it is, how do you make time for your marriage while also pursuing ministry?
Yeah, so Derek and I think that the benefit of us getting married when we did, so I was ordained before I got married, and Derek was ordained right before we got married too. And so there was a foundation that was had, and so when we really started getting together, like, ministry is like, I want to say it's almost, that's our safe place together, meaning like that's like no ands and buts about it. Like, we can give, we can serve, we can participate, but then those are not our hard parts, because we know that is something that is important to spread the gospel and to spread love towards everyone. And so for us, that was like essential. That's almost like essential ground where it's like, now what I will say is that we did step away from some opportunities so that we could understand who we are in our marriage before we because I've experienced burnout before. And so I was like, I don't want to be burnt out and be married at the same time, because I'm like, I have a partner with me, so I have somebody that's going to be with me. So I would prefer to build a foundation, to grow and to understand each other, and then go take over a church, or then go do something really big and grand in ministry. But like taking it step by step and understanding where we are is also important. But I will say that giving, hosting, serving, doing some of those things are some of our like simple things. Like there's like when Derek says he's been on Facebook and he's like done a whole YouTube vibe of or not YouTube vibe, but like he went live one time and he started singing songs. Like ministry and worship is like a place where we grow easily, because it's like God, like you said, like Jordynn said, like you run together, like you run to God and you will eventually run together. Like those things, it's a click, it's seamless. But I will say that we decided to really take time to understand who we are as a couple, because we didn't want to we knew that ministry's hard. Ministry's hard with doing it by yourself. So because it's hard by yourself, I was like, Derek, I think that we really need to listen to the people in our lives that are giving us some advice. And we should step away from this opportunity, because I want to know you. I'd rather know you when you're mad or upset or trying to figure out life now than when we're like in a tough situation and it's not just us. Like, I'm not going to know you then. If we were like say we were pastors right now in this pandemic and this would be our first year of marriage, there's no telling what the enemy would do to us, because it's not even to say that you're not smart to do ministry in your first year of marriage, but there's so much that could possibly go down, and you want to hope that you run together, but sometimes people can draw you apart for no purpose. And so we decided that we just need to be really, really respectable of who we are and where we are, and really take that before we get something really big. But honestly, I believe too, like my time with God has been more important now, because you're always with the person and you're always with people. And like I said, I'm one of 7, and I've always been around a lot of people, but I was like, oh, I understand the importance of this even more now, because I need to be able to give this spiritual praying and all these other aspects to life before it gets too ridiculous. Like I need to be able to cling to God in these areas of my life, because they're going to be challenging times, and I need to be able to cling to God in these challenging times. So,
yeah.
Amen. Okay, that was great. So the last question is for Jordynn, and it's how did you get started with your business, and what are some practical tips for businesses for growth in business and on social media?
Yeah, so my husband and I started Yoked Creative Media. Was that 4 years ago? And we just started off creating logos. I mean, these are really like janky logos and business cards. We got to start somewhere. We worked with family members at first, and then we also made like a bunch of fake materials. Like we made fake brochures, fake flyers, fake websites, all that. And we just pretended that we had clients, and we didn't. And sure enough, people came. And so started getting clients like that. I worked, we both had other jobs, and I flash forward a few years, we were just doing yoga media on the side, and flash forward a couple of years, Will was like, this doesn't fulfill me. I don't really like it. And my heart was broken, because I'm like, we're supposed to be a power couple. There's your expectations, Jessica. Like I was like, we're supposed to be a power couple, supposed to have a business together, supposed to make money, supposed to travel the world, and Didn't work out that way. And so, and I was working a corporate job, a creative corporate job. I kept getting laid back, like you mentioned it before. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? Like, God, what are you trying to say? So I ended up, after I got laid off at the second job, I found out I was pregnant like a couple weeks later. And I'm like, what in the world is happening? Like, so we have one income. Will was still getting acclimated to his job. It was just a hot mess. But so I was like, I got to go hard with Yoked Media. So I just went hard, and it picked up. I just brought somebody else in to help me with clients. And so now, like my main thing, it's not really logos and websites as much. We still do those things, but I really love helping people brand themselves on Instagram. I do Instagram rebrands. So, we walk through strategy. We talk about, I create color palettes, mood boards, brand style guides, voicing and tone, the way you're going to talk to your target demographic, all those things. I love doing branding. And then that is transferred over into every other aspect of your business, whether it be real life, how you communicate with people in real life, or on your website, on Twitter, on Facebook. It all comes full circle. So some tips I guess I can give you is, sign up for my free webinar on Monday. We're going to be talking about how to generate income on Instagram. So it'll be an hour of just like me giving you tips, talking a little bit more about my story in depth. But another thing you could do is focus on rebranding your Instagram. I think it's really important to make sure that your Instagram is solid, because that's like a landing page. You don't even really need website these days. You can have an absolutely free Instagram. You can target people like websites. Yeah, you can send the people that you know your website, but that's about it. But on Instagram, you have unlimited resources. You have connections to millions and millions and millions of people. So I'm really big on Instagram. I don't know how long Instagram is going to last, but guess what? I'm going to capitalize on it until something changes, and build my email list and do what I got to do. But I would definitely say work on rebranding your Instagram. Make sure your highlight covers are like in place and cohesive. Make sure you got a strong bio. Make sure that your feed looks good. Get high quality photos. All of that is really important. I also, Jessica, I didn't mean to take over your show today, but I'm launching a course on September 1st called Rebrand Your Gram. And I walk you through from top to bottom how to do that. So it's just more in depth. We're going to talk about confidence. I think a lot of people struggle having confidence. They're like, I don't want to share that, even though God said, I'm not ready. Because like a lot of times, like people like us, we have ministries like Rhema, like you have a ministry, and it's like hard to connect those dots and like transfer that over to Instagram. How do I want to come off on Instagram? I don't want to be too preachy. What is my voice for that? And that's what the course helps you do, is it helps you walk out like confidence and like just silence all the voices of fear, because there's so many opinions, like we've talked about today, so many opinions, and we got to silence those voices and do what we got to do, especially during COVID too. Like people are getting furloughed, they're getting laid off. Like how can you generate income online? Like there's so much money to be made. People like think about all the subscriptions you have. Think about all the things you've purchased, all the packs, the preset packs, the whatever you've purchased like online. Somebody will invest in you or invest in themselves and buy your product or buy your service. So I'm just super big into rebranding Instagram. That's my thing. So hopefully that helps.
The
next one, September 1st. And if you go to my Instagram page, I do have a free checklist, so you can walk yourself through like, all right, do I have a solid bio? Do I have X, Y, and Z? And that way you can kind of have an idea of what you're missing and what you need. There's also 5 steps to having a better Instagram on there as well. And those 2 things are free to download. Those are all on the link in my bio.
Okay, perfect.
Follow it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, ladies, for joining me today. I really appreciate it. So how can people find you on Instagram, book your services, whatever? How can they find you on social media?
I am Jordynn.Nicholson. So basically what you see right here, Jordynn. Okay, I'm not gonna do it. Jordynn, JORDYNN.Nicholson. Exactly how you see it here. Just put a little dot in the middle. That is me.
Okay. Mine is Living Word Rhema. So But it's all one word.
Okay.
It's not no spaces.
I'll put it in the description box. I don't remember if I linked it or not, but I'll put it in the description box. And yeah, me and Rhema are working on something. We're not gonna say what it is, but
no, we need to. I haven't done anything in that. Well, yeah, I'm working on writing a devotional finally, and I have been in many years in the making. So what you said, Jordynn, was very interesting, and I will definitely be looking into it because I need help in that area.
Girl, go download the free stuff. Go get the free stuff, and then come to the webinar on Monday. Let's start there.
I need to do that.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. And it'll help me. It'll help me put myself out there. I'm in the process of Jessica's editing some stuff, and I am working on doing some writing, and I'm really nervous, but I'm excited about it.
Nope, we gotta walk in our purpose. But I'm proud of you because it's like the hardest part is like where you're at now. It's like just making the decision to do it and say, you know what? I don't care what they say. I don't care that I haven't done anything on Instagram. I've never been a businesswoman. I've never been this or that. I'm going to be that now. You know what I mean? Like making that decision to change. So I feel like the real question is, Jessica, when are you going to write another web series? Because like, I'm like,
I just love telling people about it.
It's for selfish reasons too, because I had so much fun working with you, and I'm just like, oh my God, I want another. Like, it doesn't matter what kind of role. I'm just like, yeah, I'll do it. I want to do it. I'll drive up to DC again. Like, that was so much fun.
I know.
I was pregnant. Last episode that I was in, I was pregnant, which is kind of crazy.
It's quarantine. I know you're working on some.
I know. Some people have been asking me, and honestly, so one, I don't know if y'all saw my post, I think yesterday, but I've been like really focused on Redefine Woman and being consistent with that. But I do really want to do something else, because we had a conversation a couple weeks ago with some of the cast.
I saw that.
And they were like, we want to work again. And I'm just like, all right, look, it's still Corona out here. So I don't know how comfortable people feel with being on set. And it's just so much.
Everybody got to get tested and quarantine until shoot date.
Yeah, Tyler Perry.
That's true. It's just so much money too. That's the only thing that's really stopping me, is like the money that you have to put into it. But I definitely want to make another show, because I just loved being on set. I loved like the response that we got. Like I honestly thought only some of my friends and family would watch it, but it really blew up.
Before I moved here in Oklahoma, I told my whole youth ministry, and we were watching it and streaming it. And I even told some people at camp, like, Jessica, she's the real one.
Thank you.
And it's so relatable, you know. Like, I feel like a lot of people can relate, especially believers who are just like still trying to find their way. Like, I mean, I like some of the things that happened in the show, I'm like, oh my gosh, this was me. Like, you know what I mean? So I think that's the really cool part about it. It's really cool.
All right, I got y'all. I'm gonna try to cook up something for 2021. I might need to start a little crowdfunding page or something, but I definitely want to create something else. So once again, I want to thank you ladies for joining me, and I will see you next time.
Thank you so much for having us. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye.